Everything else on my body is designed to heal. But my teeth, that's the only thing that can't heal. That doesn't even make any sense. Our thoughts are so powerful. So if you believe that you cannot repair your teeth, then you're right. You cannot repair your teeth. But if you believe that your teeth can repair and regenerate, then your teeth will repair and regenerate. And that's what's so key is people don't realize we have options. And even more than that, we can change our daily habits. Like a simple change in your morning routine can make all the difference in your overall health, right? Or even a couple of simple changes, right? It's just like awareness. Just keep seeking awareness. Don't stop at the doctor's office. Don't stop at the dental office. Don't think that that's the end of the line. Like, sure, you needed to go and you needed to get a checkup, and okay, they gave you a diagnosis or whatever, but their suggestion for treatment is not the only path. So explore your options. I find that a lot of people want to get healthier, but are just overwhelmed. They're like, where do I start? And for me, I remember being overwhelmed 12 years ago when I started. My son was newly born, and I was like, I don't know what to eat. It took me 10 years to figure out what I should be eating.
Hello, Gamma Seekers. Welcome to our broadcast. I have here today Whitney Lynn, who is definitely a different voice than who you've seen me interview before. And she really caught my attention online because of her sovereign sanctuary. Anybody that uses that word to me is looking for liberation and freedom in our programs and thought. And she is creating a place of comfort and remedy. So not only is she looking up remedies and creating them and making them practical for a lot of moms out there, but she is organizing this information, which I know takes a ton more energy than people realize to, not only look it up, buy it, experiment with it, proof it out, but then deliver that to others. It is a labor of love and passion. So I wanted a chance to sit down and talk to you about all of these beautiful remedies that you unbox and throw in different ways in front of people's faces. And before I throw in this beautiful little pop quiz that I've been, thinking about for a week before we sat down, tell us a little bit about your journey into natural healing and what sparked your passion for it.
I was tired of living in fear. It's as simple as that. This society, we're all programmed to operate out of fear, right? Low frequency, of course. And that's where they can control us from. And I mean, if we really understood how connected we are, how supported we are, how whole we are, and that the answer is right here. It's all in nature. Like we have access to everything that we need. If everybody knew that, then they wouldn't have control over the masses the way that they do, right? So as soon as I realized that we don't have to live in fear, I started screaming it from the rooftops. I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, there's a cure for everything.
The
So
solutions are here.
literally, it's devastating to watch people go through loss. It's devastating to watch people suffer. And I mean, we don't have to, right? So I saw the beauty in it. Our body is our vessel. And I just, as I started to live in that way, and that's all my son knows. I mean, he's thriving. I feel like I'm thriving. I feel younger than I did 10 years ago. So must be doing something right.
It's hard to believe you're a mom of 12, honestly. You look too young for that.
She means a 12-year-old, not 12 children.
Yes, a 12-year-old. So I know that you have collected a lot of remedies, and that seems like that's the main focus of your membership. Am I right?
Yeah, essentially, it's the thing is, yes, there's all the remedies that are out there that we can utilize, but like the remedy is also right here. And so, like, really coming to understand that piece, like, I'm giving that for the free. I'm not even trying to charge people for that. I'm just like, if you want to learn, come and learn what I've learned from all the greats, because you are who you spend your time with. And I have spent a lot of time with authors and philanthropists who are, in just different sacred texts. And with that, each one teach one, right? I just want to share what I'm learning.
Beautiful. So to make this very practical for particularly moms are on my mind when I was, thinking about you to have you on here. So that's the filter that I'm really going to kind of like imbue on this. So I'd like to do a little fill in the blank run through of how you coach moms up with your natural solution. So let's say your kid has a sore throat. What do you do?
Well, immediately onions, and I'm going to say that probably 40 more times on this podcast. Because onions, we're detoxing. We have to get the bad bacteria out. We want to get the good bacteria in. So for a sore throat, well, I'm going to go with gargling salt water, multiple, like 3 times minimum each day until everything lets up. And that's only going to be a couple days.
Okay, and with onions, are you applying them to, like, the feet? Are you having them eat it? Are you coating them in honey? What's up?
Yes, great question. So, organic onions, I prefer white or red, but really I'll go with anything. If I only have yellow on hand, an onion is an onion, and there are compounds in the onion that are actually pulling. And so this is also why I store my onions in glass jars instead of plastic jars, because otherwise it's going to pull the microplastics out of the plastic container.
Mhm.
So, and then impair how powerful that onion really can be, of course, right? So when you actually slice an onion and then you put it on the bottom of your feet have pores, some of the largest pores on our body. And so it's now able to interact with different organs depending on where you place the onion on the bottom of the foot also. So I'll scatter them all over and just really allow it to detox completely. And this is literally at the sign of anything. I'm talking a fever, I'm talking hives, I'm talking a sore throat, literally any possible ailment, I'm getting the onions.
Perfect. So do you do slices, like a quarter of an onion in the bottom of a sock in a way?
Yes. Yeah, exactly that. I actually like to double the socks. That way you don't get any onion juice in your sheets, or at least it's minimal.
Okay.
But yeah, essentially, it's smelly, it's messy, it's annoying, and we can avoid it or we can heal quicker by just doing it. Because that's what I've come to learn. It's like that night when you went to bed and you were like, "Oh, my throat was hurting just a little bit," and then you woke up and you were feeling awful. If you would have gone to sleep and just put the onions in your socks and you would have gotten a proper sleep, I promise you're waking up a 10. Like maybe a 9, but like very close to a 10.
The double sock is so solid. This is what I want the podcast to be full of, because like I remember the first time I did that trick and I did chopped onions and I walked on it and I mushed right through it, and then they weren't on the bottom of my feet, they were on the outside of the sock. So that's a good one already.
Yes, yes.
Your kid comes home and he has a runny nose.
Okay, so that means we got excess mucus. I'm diving for sea moss 100%. I'm also going for onions in the socks right away.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, I'm probably going to gargle salt water also because we want to just kill all the bacteria. Or the bad
Mhm.
bacteria, I should say. And then I also want to load them up with minerals. So when I said sea moss, I'd probably do a smoothie. I could do some broccoli sprouts as well as, sorry, broccoli seed sprout. You can get those at Healthy Planet, organic, of course. And that's just like what we're doing is building the immune system up, right? So, like, the kids coming home, they're stating that I'm not feeling 100, right? So it's like, I'm going to send you to bed tonight with tools that are going to pull out the bad, and I'm going to put the good in, and you're going to go and sleep, which is you recharging, and you're going to wake up and you're going to feel amazing. Now, there is one thing that I didn't mention. I also love a foot bath. This is like, I'm just like, if you're not feeling well, let's just do it all because then you can feel
Mhm.
better tomorrow. And that's actually typically what my son experiences. He's better within 24 hours. I can't tell you the last time that he felt sick for longer than a 24-hour period because we just do everything to strengthen the immune system immediately.
So I find that I'm really good at layering my habits so that I'm hitting it. And when I sit down with a client, they're like, "Oh, I did silver spray and I gargled." And it's like, "You only did it once. Like, you are missing it." So I'm going to slow you down here and I'm going to say, "Okay, so your kid comes home, they have a runny nose. You're going to hit him with what, for maybe salt water first, and then that smoothie, and then the onions before they go to bed. And then that smoothie, can you tell me what's exactly in it?"
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, that all sounds good. We would do it in that order. Now, and I mean, that's assuming he has an appetite. And actually, no, that's assuming he doesn't have an appetite, right? I still want to try and get something in him, but if he has an appetite, then super key that you don't give them any artificial sugars or anything that's
Mhm.
going to create excess mucus in the body. So your processed foods and dairy. And that's assuming that you don't consume raw dairy. So it's like we want to avoid anything that is just going to create more bad bacteria in the body that entire evening. And then I want to make sure that he's going to bed at a really good hour. Like, people sleep on how important sleep is. They don't realize that if I could only choose one of all the remedies, it would be sleep. The body just needs it, and they don't give it enough priority, I think, right? Especially in these moments. So I would also be checking for fever, because I think that's super key. And a lot of parents miss this. And I think it's just because we don't know any better. I missed it for years. If he has a fever, absolutely no layers. I am letting him shiver all night long. I'm letting him shiver until his body has
Mm.
completely regulated. And I've noticed a drastic improvement in his recovery time by doing this. And so it's just a lot. Like, if he's laying down, obviously, like, that's an awful feeling to sit there and shiver. So he has a blanket, one leg out, one leg in. And so that means one arm is out and one arm is in as well, right? And so by having half of his body out, it's forcing the body to still do what it needs to do, which is regulate its temperature. And so you still have a little bit of comfort. I get it, but to you need to avoid layers. And so many parents will just bundle up their kids, not knowing that they're going to feel worse for a longer period of time by allowing the body to continue to feel cold, right? Because you're staying warm because of the blanket. You're not warm without it, which means the temperature hasn't regulated yet.
That's so
So
interesting.
yeah, so the fever is the first thing I would probably look for, right? They come home, fever, I'm checking their appetite, checking there to just determine, like, what can I get into you, right? Because if you have an appetite, I'm probably going to opt for some soup. I want to get some
Okay.
minerals in. You
Hmm.
mentioned sore throat. Thyme is so powerful you probably know, for a sore throat, whether it's thyme tea or just some fresh thyme in the soup. And then in terms of post meal, whether it was soup or a smoothie, and okay, you mentioned the smoothie. Okay, what's going in the smoothie? So, okay, let's keep it low sugar. So I guess I would do maybe a banana, maybe half a banana to a full banana, depending on what other items we're going to put in the smoothie, right? Like, if you're not putting any juice, if you're just going to do water, then use your full banana, right? But some parents really need to put some juice, and I don't keep juice in the house unless it's like cold pressed. So, I would do banana. I love to do cherries. Yeah, I would probably do banana, cherries, maybe some dragon fruit. That's like one of my new favorite things to throw in my smoothies. And then definitely a tablespoon of sea moss, and that's the sea moss gel. And then, yeah, we could do, okay, so if I have Hawaiian spirulina on deck, I'm going to put a scoop of the Hawaiian spirulina in, because that's great for building immunity. If I don't have Hawaiian spirulina and I have the broccoli seed sprouts, I'll go with that. I'm pretty much just going to grab whatever I know is immune building, and I'm going to throw it
Okay.
in the smoothie. But
Fascinating. We have very different smoothie making processes there, but I love yours.
really,
Yeah, I'm all about
really,
juices. Like, to me, give me fresh OJ and nothing but fresh OJ.
yeah.
Like, so, like for me, runny nose, I want to get all the boogers out of my nose. I want to
Hmm.
blow that sucker clean, then gargle
Hmm.
hard with salt water.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then maybe gargle with hydrogen peroxide if I still feel like there's some
Nice,
stuff in there, and then
nice.
OJ. But I live in South Florida, and
That's
Florida
totally
is
different.
like, yeah, exactly. And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, you guys don't realize I'm in the tropics. Like, fruit, it just hits you like Gatorade down here
Yeah,
because there's so much sweating.
yeah,
So it's nice to hear your process. Where in the
yeah.
world are you? Just out of
I'm just
curiosity.
outside of Toronto.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah,
perfect. There's like
yeah,
here's two different angles to it.
very
Okay, so
exactly.
you're
Now,
looking for
I would do lemon.
remineralization.
I would do lemon or lime for the
Okay.
same purpose. If you woke up super congested, I'm like, let me go get you some hot water and some lime. I'm gonna let it cool, and then I'm gonna stir some honey into that, and then I'm gonna let you sip on that. And I know that that will just clear him out right away. But also the sea moss will
There,
help with that too, right?
yeah,
Like, do
sea
you
moss.
understand the sea moss? It absorbs, like, it literally acts like a sponge. I'm like,
I am new to it, and I have Survival Moss. This brand just sent me like 7 packages of dehydrated sea moss.
okay,
So they found a way to stabilize sea moss by dehydrating it, and it still keeps like 97% of the enzymes. I've always
yep,
had it in a gel form, but
yep,
then you have to use it within a couple weeks. So this has
right.
been like a new way to experiment with it. But no, please elaborate on it because I'm still kind of new to sea moss.
Yeah, so mineral rich, right? Forgive me, I believe it has 92 of the 101 minerals that we need, something like that. Everybody says that. And you know what? The key with sea moss is where it's being sourced from, right? It has to be wild harvested. And I mean, to be honest with you, I'm very much in the belief that too much of anything is bad for us. So I'll do a week of sea moss and a week of no sea moss, and then I'll throw it back into the
Cool.
smoothies again. I just like, and I moderate with pretty much everything. And I can
Mm.
always tell, like, my nails get super super long when my sea moss is up, and if my nails break, I'm like, oh shoot, we need sea moss again. So it's like, your body's
Oh,
always communicating with you, right? Like, we know if you're tapped in, you have to be paying attention. So yes.
wow, those are all beautiful things that you hit on there. Do you have anything else for the runny
I was
nose?
just gonna, yeah. Oh, you know what? For the runny nose, I was gonna say that yes, like a lot, some sort of citrus is super important, and then going to bed that night with the onions, gargling the salt. If it was just a runny nose, I probably wouldn't do a foot bath. But anyhow, there was any sign of nausea or any sign of, like, when you just feel a little bit congested versus when you're like, whoa, something is taking over me right now.
Mm.
Okay, that feeling of like, whoa, something is coming over my body, like this is a virus. I don't play that. We are immediately doing a foot bath. And I say this because I have these fulvic minerals, which, if there's a way that you can link things, we can link these. It's so
Mhm.
powerful. I'll throw a teaspoon of them into my foot bath. And I've done this for me and my son. I've had them for probably a year. So for the last year, this has been my go-to anytime that it's like, whoa, something something bad is coming. And it by the end of the foot bath, you're like, okay, I'm okay now. Whatever was just coming over me, it's now manageable. Like,
Mm.
it changes things in a matter of 30 minutes, which is so cool because, like, your feet just dumped toxins into this bath. And if you like it's very dark. It's like literally a black bath because that's what color
Yeah.
the minerals are, for those who don't know. And so if you just hold your phone flashlight over the bath, you can literally see the toxins inside the foot bath. And it's just like, it's fascinating to see that your body just dumped all that.
Huh. That's so cool. I want to try those minerals. Like,
Yes.
I love me a good hot bath, but seldom do I do my feet alone.
Mm. You can do them in the full bath, but like I say, there's something about me with the feet and healing. I'm just like, oh, this is our way.
Dude, I'm like a foot lady. I totally get. I like preach about the feet. I talk about the feet. I'm always like, show me your feet, spread your toes. I don't have a weird thing about it. So like the foot bath sounds like I need to experience that.
Yes,
um,
yes.
okay, what about skin issues? You can go off here.
Okay, yeah, I can. Ooh, I'm like, whoa, where do I start? So, skin issues, because you know what? I actually, on a very frequent basis, have people slide in my DMs asking about how they can clear their skin because I have an organic skincare line. So, naturally, everyone
Hmm.
comes to me once they see my content about that. Now, it's funny because the first thing I say isn't even me trying to sell my products. I'm like, what's your diet like? Let's just start there. And so, in terms of skin issues, my first thing is, I mean, most people don't know this, but I always ask, what's your blood type? Because by us going there, we can kind of get a closer look at, where do your food sensitivities lie? Right? Because it's like, I have a friend who can eat all the dairy in the world and her skin is fine. And if I eat dairy, I have cystic acne. There's something different about us, right? And
Mm.
it's our blood type. And so, the reality is, I ignored that for years. I was like, I don't care. I love the taste of cheese and I love the taste of white bread, and I'm going to eat these things because it's not fair. And I don't know what I was asleep. So, yeah,
Grilled
I
cheese
was
for
literally
me
in
was a
cheat
huge wake
mode.
up call. I feel you. I had like a whole moment where I was like, no more grilled cheeses. This is just my life now, and I need to accept it. And it was so depressing. So I
It
completely
is.
understand.
It's so true. And I'll say, I've gone the vegan route. I'll do vegan cheeses here and there because I need me a grilled cheese every now and then. But I draw the line there because I'm like, I can't do the fake vegan food, but if I got to do a
Mm.
little fake vegan cheese just for this one grilled cheese sandwich, I'll do it. But in terms of just really with the diet, we have to be super aware of how you're reacting to things. Like, that's where your elimination diet is going to start. When I personally know, if I eat a cookie when I'm PMSing, I'm going to break out, right? That's how my skin reacts. But any other time of the month, I can eat. I mean, I eat clean anyway, but if I eat something that isn't clean, my skin is clear, and that's because my diet as a whole is clean. And so when people have skin issues, 9 times out of 10, it's something that you're eating or it's a product that you're using. You're reacting to something. However, I will say it could be a bigger issue, right? Like I was even just doing a little bit of research about diabetes a couple days ago and realized like acne is a sign of pre-diabetes. Obviously in a
Mm.
more complex way, but it's like so many of these symptoms that we can experience can be a sign of so many different things. Right? Like acne doesn't just mean this. It can mean this, right? So it's important to pay attention to when are you breaking out? Where are you breaking out? And you can look into that too. I think, like I say, what are you eating? What are you using? Those are my first recommendations. And when I say what are you using, I mean like what kind of makeup are you using? What kind of lotion are you using? What kind of soap are you using? What kind of laundry detergent are you using? What kind of perfume are you using? Like this could be a reaction to a hormonal imbalance that there's too much estrogen in the products that you're using, or it could be that you're clogging your pores, right? Like it could be so many things. It's
But
overwhelming.
you're building awareness though. So even when I'm saying like, what's your remedy for skincare? Your remedy is awareness and hyping up your awareness around all of these different things.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm at a point now where I only use Alpa soap on my body. And then I follow my skincare esthetician for my cleanser. And she's got me on a foam cleanser. And she's got me on this like fulvic acid twice a week. And it's not as clean as I would want it to be, but it is like top end Korean stuff. And
Hmm.
I just trust her. And it's just the
Hmm.
cleanser.
Hmm.
And then for toner, I have tried so many different kinds of toners because in Florida, you're constantly sweating and you go outside and you need a shower really to be back to point A. So I have played with all of the high level toners and I am stuck on this thing. I call it beauty water, and it's water between 4 to 5 pH, and it's just
Okay.
water.
Uh-huh.
And there's nothing like it, and it's just water at a perfect pH. And then at night, this has
Mm.
been my last 6 weeks. I'm always experimenting because I just feel like I'm gonna dial it. Like I know I'm gonna dial it at some point. So I've been taking this beauty water and I add sea salt and I add magnesium. So like
Mm.
I've had all the serums. I used to run an organic skincare company and I was just COO, but I like knew all the products and got to play
Mhm.
with all of the most intentional organic sea buckthorn oil, like oils with all of the mashups. And like I was all about oil, 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 which doesn't align up with the humidity down here. But this
Mm.
damn beauty water with sea salt and magnesium, when I sprayed on my face at night, it's almost like my body produces all of the oil I need. And when
Mm.
I wake up the next morning, I just douse myself with the beauty water. I don't even add any of the old oils. And so I just did a straight 4 weeks with this. And I went back to my esthetician. I'm like, okay, how did I do? Like, she doesn't know. I like put the serums away, I put the oils away.
Mm.
And I'm like, what's up? And she's like, you look great. You look better than ever. And I'm like, damn, man, it's minerals. Like, what if it's not?
Wow.
And it's just, something. I'm sure you have
Mhm.
beautiful oils and minerals, and I live in a hyper humid place. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering what it is that you do and that you do with your 12-year-old son who's going through that hormone change. Can you speak a little bit
Yeah.
about what's working for you too?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I saw him come to me with a pimple. This was going back a few months, and I was like, "Oh no, my son cannot be walking around with a pimple. Come, we need to fix this right now." And so, yeah, immediately, I used my toner and my spot treatment on him. And the thing is, it's yes, all the fine oils, it makes a difference, but it's true, it is the minerals, and I find it to be the simplest products work for me. So I have this black soap bar, and this is I developed the skin set. It's a a 4-piece skin set. I developed it gradually over time, and the soap bar was actually the last piece to come together, which is the cleanser. And it was funny because when I made the soap bars, I was like, okay, black soap. I saw all the benefits. I used it. I was like, it doesn't dry out my skin the way other cleansers do. And like that's probably one of my biggest complaints with a lot of mainstream cleansers. And
Mhm.
so I ended up infusing sea moss, so chunks of sea moss into my black soap bar. And
Brilliant.
when I tell you, like, I cannot keep this soap stocked. And not to mention, from my own personal experience, like, yeah, my face stays clear, but my back has always had an issue with acne since I was a teenager. And the soap bar, my CMOS soap bar, is the only thing that I can use that keeps it clear. It's like when I run out, I can't afford
Mm.
to run out. I have to keep making it because I need it. So yeah, that has made a world of a difference for me. And I would say the toner, because the toner it's an apple cider vinegar base and it's
Mm.
infused with witch hazel, and I infuse it with oils as well, including CBD. And so it's super hydrating, but because it's apple cider vinegar base, it resets your skin's pH levels. So when you said that your pH water is, making all the difference, I'm like, I feel you, because that's
Yeah.
exactly why my toner works for me. And I mean, exactly, like it doesn't, I can put my toner on and I can just go for the rest of the day. I don't even have to put oil on, or a moisturizer on, I should say. And that's what got me in trouble, because I was like, oh, I feel great. But then I'm like, oh no, I'm like, I need to take care of my skin. I need to be sealing in the moisture. So I had to start like using my serum, which I love, but I had to start using my serum more frequently just to really like take care of my skin. Exactly. You said sea buckthorn oil, and I was like, we need to be doing that every day. So I
Mm.
actually, in the last 6 months, I added the sea buckthorn oil as an ingredient just to enhance the serum. And I'm loving it ever since I did that.
Yeah, it's really good for like brown spots. And I love this conversation because as somebody who's been, looking at skincare, I had crow's feet at 20 and it's
Wow.
serious sun damage issues because I was a golfer. So I've been in
Mm,
like looking at natural skin remedies for the last 15 years heavy because I didn't want to wear sunblock during college. So
yeah.
I would wear a bucket hat, but there's still so much sun damage here. And no one really like you don't see it until you're looking at my face under a light and you're like, oh damn, like there's, you took on some serious sun here, not here. Like there's a
Mm,
very different tone change.
mm,
And in this conversation, I want to remind people like I got an Irish background. I got like French Irish blood. And then I live in like a super bright sunny area, whereas you're in Toronto with a totally different background. And what I always
mm,
encourage people with their skin is like, A, your skin is always changing. And what works for someone else does not mean that it will work for you. And
yeah.
to learn how other people have started to calibrate, and it's all with experimentation. So like everything you're saying here, it could be so useful for, people struggling with back acne and like, wow, the sea moss and the soap to me is brilliant because I do think that the topical minerals can be like taken into the bloodstream just like easier and more efficiently. And like, that's great that you have a supplement, but like, is it getting to the tissues and,
Yeah.
is it being utilized? And like, you can
Yeah.
just encourage it with good stuff like that, like letting your skin eat.
Yeah.
What are
Exactly.
what are you using for your son? Very curious what you have him on.
Literally the same thing.
Okay.
When I created these products, I was like, these are going to be multi-purpose products. They're going to be safe for everybody in the family. It's a one-stop shop. And I wasn't about creating a line for acne and a line for anti-aging and a line for this. And no, we all have skin. We can simplify. Yes, there's a time and a place where we need to differentiate. But the reality is, when I designed the serum, I designed it with sensitive skin in mind. And as somebody with
Mm.
oily skin, I love that serum. My skin is not more oily or less oily because it's just hydrated. Right. So it's like there is a way to simplify this. And yeah, he thrives using my toner and my spot treatment when he has his little
What a
pimples
lucky
that come in.
kid.
I know. I love that.
For your spot treatment, do you have something in particular that you recommend?
So the one that I make it's jojoba oil. And so it's in a little roll on. So you clean the area first and then you roll it on. I'm amazed. Like, I'm amazed at myself that I made this product, because I was like, did it really just do that like overnight? Like, even my best friend, she was using the line for years but doesn't have acne really. She has clear skin, so she never had a reason to buy the spot treatment. And she ended up buying the spot treatment from me like a year or two ago, and she was like, this is a magical product. I can't believe that I was sleeping on this product. I was like, I know, me too. So yeah, it's
That's a
simple. It's
winner.
simple. Yes.
All the real solutions to me are so simple. And thanks for sharing them. All right. Are you ready for this next one? I know you're going to
I'm
get
so
excited.
ready.
He comes home with a cavity. What do you do?
Ooh, okay. So first and foremost, we are dealing with the diet 100%. Like, I mean, I'm already in control of his diet, but let's say for the average kid that's eating some candy or sugar, we're immediately cutting that. We're not doing any more of the artificial sugar. That is unacceptable. And now we're going to be gargling golden seal post meal, and we're going to do
Mhm.
that. We're going to essentially do that. I don't want to say every single day, because with something like golden seal, you want to do it in moderation. And the thing is, there's other really powerful practices that we can use. So you could use gargling sea salt with water. You could use oil pulling with coconut oil or sesame oil or castor oil. So because there's so many ways to just be pulling toxins out of the mouth, we're just going to be rotating those. We're going to be doing that after every meal, and then obviously brushing, flossing, all of the normal things that we know we need to be doing. But one thing that a lot of people don't know, this is something that I actually realized in the last couple of years too, is the water that we're drinking. So when we're drinking water that is mineral deficient, that's actually creating weak teeth. It's setting you up for a cavity or oral health issues. And so I'd be swapping the water if need be right away as well.
Wow. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna back us up again. What are you flossing with and brushing with?
So I'm using a mineral tooth powder, which really changed my life. It has so many powerful ingredients in it. Again, we can link that because I've had so many people ask about this. And the reason why it's so powerful is because we're remineralizing the teeth. And that is what people don't realize. They're like, you just have to accept what has happened to your teeth. And the only way that you can repair it is if you go to the dentist. And it's like, everything else on my body is designed to heal, but my teeth, that's the only thing that can't heal. That doesn't even make any sense. Like, so I mean, I'm going to take it a step further. Our thoughts
Mhm.
are so powerful. So if you believe that you cannot repair your teeth, then you're right. You cannot repair your teeth. But if you believe that your teeth can repair and regenerate, then your teeth will repair and regenerate. And I know most people can't fathom what I just said, but
Oh, my
that's how
audience
deep
can.
it goes. Okay, great. I
Yeah,
love to hear
yeah.
that.
Oh, absolutely. No, we're here. This is called the Gamma Seeker broadcast because we're here seeking the highest orchestration of how our brainwaves operate, and we're broadcasting. So we're not just sitting here conversing, we're emitting a frequency
Mm.
that people long into the future can jive in with. So,
We're
teeth,
being.
yes, teeth health to me is so fundamental because it's the beginning of our relationship to the outside, how we smell and how we breathe. So I use a Sonicare toothbrush, love it, use one for 15 years. I use now a Korean remineralization, and I gotta tell you, it's because I messed up my homemade tooth powder and I went ham on I don't know if it was like a mixture of like baking soda and coconut oil for too long, but I had turned my teeth translucent. For real, you could see my tongue
Mm.
through the tip of my teeth. And I was like,
Mm.
no. And
Mm.
so I learned that, the floss that I was using, Oral B Gel, just got out of a huge lawsuit. They were sued for having Teflon on their floss. So I am
Oh my
hardcore about Dr. Tongue's floss. And it's way more, it's 3 times as expensive, but
God.
there's
Mhm.
no chemicals on it and it's a little bit more gritty, but damn, it's not going to give us like neurological issues.
Yeah.
I use currently a Korean remineralization toothpaste because I'm lazy. I know that I could make probably a better one, but I really like it, and my teeth are no longer see-through.
Good.
There
But, like,
is a
there you go, they're no longer see-through. The
they
body
heal.
repairs, right?
Absolutely. I remember one time I went to this music festival, which is a hysterical place to hang out with your friends. So, like, when you don't see them, you're just like, hey, we're going to just party really hard together. And his name is Dr. Kevin. He has a beautiful dentistry practice in Denver. He's like the biggest dentist. And he was geeking out about the crystals of the teeth. He's like, the teeth are crystals, man. They each have their
Mhm.
own being, their own nerve flow, their own lymphatic drainage. And they're all like precious little crystals that we get to hang on to. And I'm like, yo, Kevin, you're such a dentist. But he told me, he's like, listen, if you're gonna be really bad at like at, you're traveling and your toothbrush dies or whatever, he's like, just make sure you floss every day. Because flossing
Mm.
is like taking care of these little crystals. And he's
Mm.
like, you could warm water, flush out so much with salt. And he's like, and then you floss and you're still really taking care of your
Wow.
teeth. But I really like how much you talk about, natural ways to heal cavities, natural things that you can do with your teeth. And I wanted to mention the Dr. Tongue's floss because it's annoying to buy something 3 times as much. And you're like, why am I doing this? And it's like, because it's not going to give you brain disorders. And like,
That part.
Yeah, it's the consumer. I love capitalism. I believe that capitalism is our most democratic form of voting for the future we want. And it's like, we'll pay $6 now, but then, like, 2 generations from now, it's, where these commercial crappy products are, because like we get to
Mm,
vote with where we spend that money. And I think, when you're like, drop the link, it's like, hell yeah, we're going to drop the link, because this is how we control the future. Like, by
yeah.
spending money on things that are good for us instead of things that are just presented at our local Walmart.
That's so powerful. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. That
So
just
there
hit
is
me.
there's this other thing about, I'm working, a lot of dentists are now coming to me because they're realizing that their patients who are mouth breathing, particularly
Mm,
mouth breathing at night, are having a lot more cavities because
yeah.
the bacteria is changing overnight. So getting them to pull, they call it the posterior tongue position, which is a fancy way of saying the back third of the tongue's got to be lifted against the soft palate. And when it's there, there's this suction cup mechanism. The tongue's not pressing on the incisors on the bottom of the teeth, so the teeth are growing in more normal, and then the airways can drain. And
Mm,
the people that suffer, I just want to mention this because, like, some people have teeth falling out, and it's nerve degeneration, and it could be from, they say it's from a lot of sugar. Sometimes it's like a misfunction because of their nerves. There's this little device, I talk about it behind my paywall mostly. It's called Best RSI, and a lot of dentists are using it here on the nerves and down here on the nerves that help control our gum health. So
mm,
even people that have serious nerve dysfunction and their gums are being eaten away, there is
mhm,
tiny little frequency tools that we can use that reincite those nerves to refire. Often it's coming from some sort of weird issue in the fascia or the lymph where
mm.
there's stagnation. So, like, all the nerves are stemming from our brainstem, then they're reaching up here, right?
Yeah.
So this is like the end of our trigeminal nerves and stuff. So
Mhm,
if we have some impairment in here in the neck or through the jaw, or we had a surgery and they cut us here or whatever, sometimes these nerves start to misfire. And even if that's happened, there's a solution now. So dental health it really messes with people's brains. So I just wanted to throw, like, 50 solutions there for anybody that's got crazy stuff going on. Then we got
yeah.
options.
Yes, and that's what's so key is people don't realize we have options. And even more than that, we have like we can change our daily habits. Like a simple change in your morning routine can make all the difference in your overall health, right? Or even a couple of simple changes, right? It's just like awareness. Just keep seeking awareness. Don't stop at the doctor's office. Don't stop at the dental office. Don't think that that's the end of the line. Like, sure, you needed to go
Yeah,
and you needed to get a checkup, and okay, they gave you a
yeah.
diagnosis or whatever, but their suggestion for treatment is not the only path. So explore your options.
Could you imagine, Whitney, if, like, in the near future you go to a doctor's office, like a dentist, and they're like, here is the floss you should have, and here's the remineralization, tooth powder, and here's some golden seal, and, here's the way to actually use these properly so that you're stacking it correctly. Don't just use it once and think the problem's going to go away.
Right? Right? And it's
That's the
funny
future we're
because
crafting.
and really it could be that beautiful, right? Like I have a lot of dentists who will slide into my comments on the care videos that go viral, and it's always the same thing. They want to essentially come for me because I'm not presenting evidence to their standard. And the reality is you're the expert in this field. Why don't you just take what I'm saying and go and explore with it? Like you could do that, but you won't because that will affect how you are compensated, right? Like that affects your profits. So it's safe for you to just continue to shoot down what I'm saying. Because if you really explore what I'm saying, do you have a business? Like you could still have a business, but you're not going to profit in the way that you can now, right?
Dude, braces are $1 billion industry. And I sat through a dental conference called Dental Alchemy, and the homeboy came here from Australia, and he's recently disappeared online. I think that he got in a little bit of trouble in the American market, but he
Mm,
was basically saying that our version of braces is detrimental to how the skull plates are developing in children, and it's locking up the cerebral spinal fluid. And so these kids are
jeez.
coming to him and they have sneezing problems, and he's like, he didn't get success with these kids until he started working with osteopaths that started to adjust the sphenoid bone. And he had to get the braces off of the kids in order for the skull plates to start to move with each breath. And so he was presenting the case that The way that standard dentistry is treating young kids' dental issues is hurting the development of the skull plates and the movement of CSF fluid. And then it creates long term issues. And he had found a way with these omega products that were, developed by Tony Ansel, not even by him. So he felt like he was just the messenger
Hmm.
of this brilliant guy. So he was so humble in his presentation of basically destroying common dentistry. And he's like, we should really be talking airway. We should really be talking tongue position, which is where I come into play, which is,
Hmm.
just hilarious. And I'm just like, yo, I'm a singer who developed some shit for singers. For a touring singer who doesn't want to spend an hour a day working on their breath. They want 10 minutes. And then here I'm talking to all these dentists, realizing that this tongue position is actually huge on how things are moving. And in a developing child, how it moves creates our skull plate shape, creates our face shape. So the dental conversation is so neurological. It's how our lymph is moving, it's how our CSF is moving. And I love what you're highlighting online, and keep going.
And take in how divine that is. Like, see how it's all connected. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's all coming down to the same thing. It's like you have the oral health, which is connected to the brain, which is right. Like, and then that's affecting how everything is functioning. And it's just,
Yep.
it's to me, it's divine. Like, to see it all play out, to see how it's all connected, that we have solutions. Because when you don't see the magic in it, then you really do feel stuck. You really do feel like you have to turn to pills, or you know what I mean? You have to turn to surgeries. And when you see how supported, like, wow, this and this works together like a puzzle piece, right? Like, now you
Mm.
have a little bit of faith restored, and you can start to vibrate from a higher space.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of higher spaces, let's say your kid comes home with low energy.
I'm chalking that up to diet. I'm like, what'd you eat or not eat today? So I would probably
Okay.
try and get something super nutrient dense into him, because I mean, it's you said it earlier, and this is my entire belief system. It now is shaped around mineral consumption. We need
Mm.
our minerals. If anything isn't working the way it's supposed to be, we just get your minerals, right? Like, so yeah, I mean, obviously if it was he had poor sleep the night before. Okay. I would probably also give his screen consumption, a review there as well, right? Like, we're going to make
Mm.
sure that you're coming off the screens at a proper time so that your body can properly create melatonin before you go to sleep, just encourage some healthy habits. But I mean, that's on a daily. So
What's your sleep ritual?
well, this is something that I struggle with because I'm doing a million things. So I love to be sleeping as early as possible. If I could get to sleep by 11 every night, that would make me so happy. And I can sometimes. So when I do, I'm up the next morning between 5:30 and 6, and I just ease into my morning and everything is fabulous. But the reality is sometimes I'm getting to bed after midnight, and that's with my schedule. That's me making sure that I'm checking every box that I said I was going to that day, which is me not tuning into my own self-care. So that's like
That's
unacceptable,
okay.
but
As a
exactly.
business owner, I completely understand and I have this like phrase with myself that sometimes in the balance is unbalance. And I think we're both at that age where it's like, this is our time for a little unbalance.
I'm saying I
Yeah. So
can I can get balanced again.
for me, my ideal schedule is I'm in pajamas by 8 p.m. with a
Ooh,
book in my hand and the
yes.
phone is off and away. And
Yes.
it's just me, my book, the animals are fed, and I'm just chilling, and there's low light. I don't even have like a little tea ritual at this point. I just love water. And I
Mhm.
know that you have a very bougie also relationship to water. What kind of water are you drinking? Tell me about your water.
It's gotta be spring water. It's gotta be spring water. There was a point I was going to the spring and getting it, but then that spring
Mhm.
got compromised. So now I get it sourced from a company that brings spring water fresh to me, stored in glass bottles, right? Like, it has to be top of the line. Now, I deal with water in so many different capacities because I'm obviously drinking my water, but I'm also really big on drinking my H3O2, the juice of my fruit. So I'm often trying to get my hands on I love to do a green juice a couple times a month, as much as I can,
Mhm.
but I mean, minimum 2 a month. And so if I'm going to juice watermelon, right, then like we're doing watermelon juice for 72 hours or until it's done. And we're just straight drinking the green juice, or we're straight doing a coconut water fast. Or I do coffee enemas. So I get a special water for that. I'm doing teas so that we're detoxing that way. And I actually have my son, he drinks dandelion tea as well. If you have a younger baby, you can do chamomile tea just to help with like a mild detox. But also red raspberry leaf tea is really good for
Mm.
kids as well. So yeah, I let him join me in our morning tea rituals as well, our rising tea rituals. But yeah, so I mean, like different water for different things. So like I don't have access to distilled water that I trust right now. So I will
Okay.
use reverse osmosis water in lieu of that. And so I mean, like I intend to just go and buy a distiller so that I can make my own. Because I don't know if you know this, distilled water is stored in like the thinnest plastic. So it's like it already is absorbing at a
Yeah.
higher rate than other kinds of water. And now it's like absorbing the thinnest microplastics into it. So, and it's also, they're distilling tap water. I'm like, what was the point of that? Why do I want
The
distilled tap
water
water?
conversation to me is just absolutely never ceasing. My favorite company I found so far is up near you. They're in Canada and it's Vicus water. They have a spring up there and they ozonate the water. So it's like
Oh,
clean spring water. And then they restructure it by
yes.
basically pumping it through a crystal until it makes a sound. So it's like at a very particular frequency. And so it's
Mm,
holding that 302 structure
wow.
for like years, and so far their oldest bottles are 3 years old and the structure is still being held. So I'd love to introduce you to them
Yeah,
because they're
please
up
drop the
in your
link.
neck of the woods. Yes, I got to interview Dr. Richard Nahas, and it was, the conversation is just never ceasing. It's like the importance of water, minerals, sunlight, and being able to breathe deeply. I just keep circulating all around those things over and
You just
over
said
and
it all.
over.
You covered everything right there. We can
And
shut
we
down the
know
whole
so
podcast
little.
now.
We
Yes.
like, okay, tell me, doctor, how do we test for my minerals and what I'm low in? And nobody's really giving me a good, clean answer for that. So even the pH conversation, that conversation I had with Dr. Nahas, I'm like, okay, what's the biggest scam in water? And he goes, it's the alkaline water, which is a $1 billion industry. And he's
I
like,
fell
you
for
got
it.
people.
Yes.
And it's not, so his little nugget there was test your pH with the little pH strips in the morning, your second pee of the day, not the first one. And like, pee for a
Mm,
few seconds, then test it. And he's like, this will yell at your clients that are drinking soda better than you can. Because if they have like a
wow.
lot of crappy water in their body, they will be low pH, low pH. And then it's like they have to fight for neutral. And they get really excited because they'll text me. They're like, yo, I'm at neutral today. And I'm like, good job. But they have to up their juice, lower their sugar. And now they're in
Mm,
this water dialogue in the system.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
isn't that funny?
powerful. Yeah, but exactly, it's so complex, and most people don't understand. Like it's not as simple as just picking up a
Spring water
bottle of
at a
water.
faucet.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a moment, me and my friend, we went to dinner and we were the bougie water people. They give us the cocktail menu, we just close it and we're like, what kind of water you got? And it's like, we need spring from glass. And then he brings it over with the ice cubes in it. And we both look at each other and I'm like, who's going to tell him that we don't want the tap water ice cubes? It was like a contest of like, man, people don't know even what they're doing here. Cause
No
I
clue.
guess you get good spring water and then you're having, what very questionable kind of ice cubes, and
Yeah.
it's just next level. Bougie is the only word I have for it. It's like, oh no, I'm that lady now. Like, it's
Call me
not good
bougie.
enough. Is your water structured, sir? If it's not, here's a business card for Vicus water, you should get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see nothing wrong with that because exactly what you said, but with your dollar, like I'm going into restaurants and I am coming out dehydrated because they had nothing on the menu for me.
And they're trying, the chef is trying, and then the water's not there, and it's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me, I just want to live my best life. What's wrong with that?
Exactly.
All right, so I have some more of these questions for, because you
Okay,
are
let's
a
do it.
fountain of useful information. So let's talk about. He comes home with a stomach ache. What's your
Ooh,
go-to?
okay. Okay, so ginger. Let's see. Are we doing ginger tea? Okay, so stomach ache as in like just a sore tummy, or is he like nauseous?
I love all okay, let's go nauseous.
Okay, if he's nauseous, now I'm getting busy tea, Bissy. I can only find this. Actually, no, I used to only be able to find it in the Caribbean store, which you could also find in the Asian supermarkets as well. But I recently found it on Amazon. And so I stocked up. And so it's the cola nut, which is Kola. And so this, I'm telling you, it is magic. If my
Mm.
son has ever had any, okay, so you're not feeling so well, you eat something, you throw up. So then you try and drink some water, or you try and eat something, and then you throw up again, right? Like I just realized, like once you start throwing up, it's hard to stop, and or you just have to stop consuming everything. So what we do once he throws up, we drink the busy tea. We actually will drink the busy tea right away just to try and like induce the throw up. Like if you're going to throw something up, let's get it out right away. So we always go to busy tea. And so as soon as he drinks it, it makes him throw up. And the thing is, it makes him throw up everything. So I've never given him busy tea and watch him continue to throw up. Whenever he drinks the busy tea, if he throws up again, that's the last one. And I can say that for a decade that's happened. I put all my mom friends on this, and they all go get their busy tea for their kids because they know they're like busy tea, or sorry, or you're throwing up busy tea. Like they just jump right on it. So yes, that's the go-to. And then I would nurse his tummy with ginger in some way, shape, or form to repair it. So like I might do like a green juice. So I might put like, if I have some greens, maybe some Swiss chard, or sorry, no, some collards. I would do some collards, or I would do some dandelion, or I might do some cilantro or some parsley, all organic. And then I might do some cucumber, or I might do some celery. And then with those, I would do probably like 6 to 8 apples. And then I would do 1 or 2 lemons, depending on how large they are. Might do a couple of carrots. This just makes it so palatable. Like it's a yummy juice now. And you have all these nutrients in it, but it's yummy because it's sweet. And it has just enough acid in it that it creates this nice juice flavor. And then I'll do just a chunk of ginger so that you have just enough zing, but then it's just getting right into the bloodstream, and it's easy on his tummy. It's not like he has to digest it, but now he's just got super minerals in him, like a supercharge of minerals in him.
You are the first person I've ever heard that talks about inducing the throw up.
I hate
Wow,
feeling
so
like that.
yeah, so you just drink it and then like within 30 seconds, within an hour?
Well, the thing is, I mean, I'm sure you can attest to this. Like, if you have a virus in you, like, when people have to throw up, if you go and you drink or eat something, then it tends to it tends to force it, right? If I
Mm.
drink a
Yeah.
smoothie and I wasn't feeling well before that, and I'm going to throw up, that's coming up pretty quickly within the next 15 minutes, I would say. So it's like, I'm pretty much just doing that. Like, it's not that the busy tea is inducing throw up. It's just anything would induce a throw up at that point because you have a virus in the body at that point, right? And so there is properties in the kola nut though that will essentially gather everything and wipe it all out one time, so you don't have to keep dealing with, like, because it's like, if I am just having water or juice or ginger ale, whatever it is people typically drink when they're not feeling well, they will continue to throw up, and it can become like, I've had my sister, she had food poisoning a couple years ago. I remember she was throwing up nonstop. This went on for hours, right? I didn't know about busy tea back then, but the point is, in her situation, it's like, with something like that, we could have brought it to a halt. I ended up going and getting her charcoal at that point, actually, and that helped.
Mm.
Yeah, there's other ways around it, but I think charcoal is specifically used for food poisoning, whereas the busy tea, it doesn't have to be food poisoning. We can just be dealing with anything that would create nausea, whether that's like a stomach bug and a flu, etc. So I
Wow.
always have busy tea in the cupboard.
That's fascinating. I wonder what they call it at the Asian markets. Do you happen to know? Is it the same
I
thing?
think it's still busy tea because the Asian excuse me, the Asian markets typically will have all of the Caribbean products. And so they, like, I think they have the Milo tea there, and I think it's just called Milo. I think it's still in like the normal packaging, so I'm confident that busy tea would be there. But like I said,
Yeah.
it's definitely on Amazon.
I love that you talked about the Caribbean store because I go to like I call it like the Latina station, and it's like I'm the only white girl. There's only like Guatemalans and Mexicans, and I love their shit. It's better. It's my favorite. And then I have my Asian store, and it's literally called the Asian market. It's the selection is bar none. Like no standard grocery store can contend with what they offer for all of the little herbs. It's like going to an apothecary. Like I can just load
Yeah.
up there and it's, 10% of the price because people know what they're shopping for and there's not this giant marketing label on it. So very cool. I have senna tea, and like at the Asian market, they call
Mm.
it the ballerina tea. So I keep it around for
Ah,
constipation. Anybody that's got an issue, I'm just like, you have this and you stay home. You're not
yeah.
going anywhere for a while. But for stomach aches, if you haven't tried this, I call it my homemade ginger ale. And I
Mm,
take fresh ginger, I rip the skin off of it, chop it up into the finest little bits. I do a half a lemon and a half a lime, and then sparkling water and with
mm,
honey.
mm.
And my mouth's watering.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
spectacular. It tastes like
Yeah.
ginger ale, but
Yeah.
it just like it settles me, and like something about the bubbles after, like being upset. I know bubbles are kind of dehydrating, but I don't care. It's a magic.
It's soothing. We care about it's still
Yes.
soothing. We care about what's tasty still, right? We just want minerals also.
So you share a lot of tools online. I think that you're a very worthy follow. If you're not following the Organic Rastamom, please, like list her a follow on Instagram. That's where most of my audience comes from. So everybody's very familiar with that platform. But what's the message that you want most families to hear right now?
Oh, there's so many. Which one do I lean into? Stop letting fear be your compass. Just really step into your power and continue to lean into the awareness. Like we have awareness at the fingertips right now. You can get information, which I understand can be overwhelming. And I get that there's a lot of information. You can find information to really support any narrative out there. So,
Mm,
I mean, I'm really big on cross-referencing, right? I don't if I hear something once, I'm like, "Okay, noted," but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna jump on it right away. I have to hear something from a few different sources a couple of times where I'm like, "Okay, I'm meant to hear this," right? So yeah, I think like when we can come away from that fear and tune into self, because if we'll stop seeking the external validation, and not even just like self validation, but like needing someone else to suggest a remedy. Like, what if you just put that question out there and trust that you'll be guided to the information that you need? So sometimes that comes with being a little bit patient, but it also comes with
mm.
like actually stopping and listening. I think a lot of people ask questions and then don't wait for the answer. They go in there just like talking to all these people. Oh, I need this. I'm looking for this. And you're still talking. You can't hear when you're talking.
Wow, what a beautiful reminder. I love that. I know that you've mentioned so many things that I have a small idea of how you're going to answer this question, but I'd love to hear it. Which like doctors, researchers, or books have really transformed you in that people could start cross-referencing some of their own information from, in your opinion?
Okay. Wow. Well, I'm like, my naturopath actually really changed the game for me. She studied under Dr. Sebi. For
Oh, how
those
cool
who,
is that?
yeah, for those who know Dr. Sebi or don't know Dr. Sebi, one thing that I think is really important to highlight, I don't subscribe to Dr. Sebi's diet and think that this is how we should all be living. This is what we should all be consuming. It's like food is a tool, and Sebi gave people a way to heal. So if you're someone who's looking to heal, yeah, go and study Sebi's diet. If you are healthy and you want to maintain health, or if you are eating the standard North American diet and you're like, where do I start? How can I change my diet? Then start looking into, I believe the book is called Eat Right for Your Blood Type. If it's not, you can find any information about eating right for your blood type online and let that be your starting point. In terms of, let's see, I would be pointing people towards parasite detoxing. That's like something that people are not paying enough attention to right now. And again, we're all eating, for the most part, the standard North American diet. Even if you're eating healthy, you're probably eating some salmon. Salmon has tons of parasites. You're probably eating some fresh produce. Fresh produce often has parasites. Man, I can touch the gas pump and pick up parasites, right? Like it's so easy to get parasites. If you have a dog, a cat, it's so easy to get parasites. And so, yeah, I would be pointing people in that direction. And again, we can drop a link for that. There's a parasite cleanse that I use, which is Mrs. Rogers Hood, I believe is her name. And she actually crafted her own tincture, like her own set for people to help them cleanse parasites, because there really is an art to it. Like when you consider that so many people have a series of symptoms, like I mentioned earlier. It's like acne can mean this, 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 this. Eczema can mean this, 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 right? And so she was suffering with health issues, not getting answers from Western medicine, and ended up, dabbling in herbs, learning, wow, these herbs, when working with this herb, you're able to do this, right? So it's like I can go and I can choose some pumpkin seeds and hope for the best and hope that I got rid of the parasites, right? Or the papaya seeds, but I probably didn't effectively do it from that one time I ate pumpkin seeds, right? And we also have binders like diatomaceous earth. I learned about diatomaceous earth from my naturopath recently, and how, like you can put things into the body to kill parasites, and then the parasites are stuck in your body. So you need binders
Mhm.
to push them out, right? So I know I'm not really dropping titles of books
That's
per
okay.
se. Okay. I
Yeah.
know I'm not really dropping titles of books per se, but I think that it's more about a starting point. I think with where we're at now, you have so many people who are like, who is this person? I can't trust this person. Or you've got people who've been stigmatized because of mainstream media, or you have people who are unheard of. So because they're unheard of, how dare I take advice from them? So it's like I don't even want to point people in a specific direction, that they end up with like this biased perception, whereas it's like, here's things that you should focus on and like go do your own research. That's what I encourage people to do. Don't love a book because I loved the book, right? Go and research this information, and if it resonates for you, then dig deeper into that. And it's like I find that a lot of people want to get healthier but are just overwhelmed. They're like, where do I start? And for me, I remember being overwhelmed 12 years ago when I started. My son was newly born and I was like, I don't know what to eat, It took me 10 years to figure out what I should be eating. And so, like I said, I would be starting with blood type. I would be starting with cleansing. Like people are not detoxing. You can eat healthy all you want, but if you are not dumping toxins out of your body, you're storing them. People
You know,
don't
the word
realize.
detox is thrown around a lot, and I feel like what you and I have gathered in, studying various forms is that detoxing is a sequence, that there's a right way to do it, there's a wrong way to do it. You can kind of do half of it right. And, just like you're talking about the binders, I love the mucusless diet, which is part of what Dr. Sebi kind of based some of his electric diet on. A lot of overlap with Gerson. Gerson's huge on the coffee enemas and different way. All of these guys have researchers, and like Ann Wigmore we can throw in there, Robert Dr. Morris, that's on the west coast of Florida. They have built sequences that allow your body to throw toxins into the intestines, and then it's up to us to stay within the sequence and that discomfort to get it out. And what I always encourage people to do, because I am so bored by the nutrition conversation, I steer away from it, but I know it's so essential, and it's just a decade of talking about it, so I overdid my brain. And what I tell people to do is, it's just like a recipe. Like, you can read one recipe and replicate it, or you can read five, you can read 10, and the next thing you know, you kind of have a good handle on your options and variety. So when you say, parasite cleanse and, doing detoxes, I'm with you. 4 times a
Mhm.
year, the change of the seasons, we should all be investing 7 to 14 days into giving our filters a break, the liver
Yeah.
a break, the kidneys a break, the skin the break, the intestines and the stomach a break, to just purge all of the stuff that gets stuck in the lymph, because our cells are
Mhm.
pooping. And as our cells poop, we need to allow them to create space, because, waking up and having a coffee 365 days a year and having, an egg sandwich is not the way we're going to keep our liver clean, 60 years from now. So I'm with you, and I'm happy that you're bringing these things into people's consciousness, and then also encouraging the curiosity and awareness and the experimentation. That's the only way. So I am curious, what does a day of nourishment in your household look like?
Okay. I love a smoothie. I love to start out with similar to the smoothie that I mentioned before. I like to start with fruit. So I guess first stop, I might go in with some tea, some dandelion tea, or I might go in with some hot water and lemon. And then maybe hour later, I'll do a smoothie, and that'll have a banana, some hemp protein powder. It'll have maybe some mangoes or some cherries, a banana, dragon fruit, maybe some sea moss, maybe another form of a mineral, and then water. And then with my smoothie, I'll also have some pasture raised eggs. I'll do some bread, some toast. I avoid gluten, so I'll do like I have this bread that I finally like, and it is white bean and millet flour, but I
That
like it.
sounds nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not bad. It's not bad. And then I'll do grass-fed butter with that. So I'm like, was I had steered away from animal products at one point, and now I'll do grass-fed butter, and I'll do eggs, and I'll do some fish, so some seafood. Like I'll do like sardines. I'm like, where's the nutrients? Give me the nutrients. I'll do that. But I avoid salmon for the most part because of the ish, like there's just a lot of parasites, and it's also where I live, right? Like if I was in a different part of the world, we'd be having a different conversation. But yes, based on where I'm at and me prioritizing nutrients, this is what it's looking like right now. I'll also do some kimchi with breakfast. It's like a heavy meal, but we get like so much in. And then yeah, probably a couple hours later, might go in for like a nutrient dense snack. So I might do like some seaweed, might do some dried apricots, I might do some sesame seeds or some pumpkin seeds or some sunflower seeds, just depending on where I am in my cycle. So I try to get certain seeds in during certain points of my cycle, which actually works well with men as well, because men thrive eating the same kinds of seeds that women thrive eating. So I make sure that my son and I are both kind of just snacking on, like I said, some nutrient dense things. And then I'll go in for another meal. So it might be like some soup with some root vegetables and hemp seeds, or it might be, let's see here, what else do I like to, I might do like a green juice in the afternoon, or I might do some homemade cookies. I like to make these chickpea flour cookies. Like I try and just get nutrients into anything that we're eating. And
Beautiful.
yeah, yeah. And this might be where we do like a little chip break too. Like there's these chickpea chips that I like. There's a few rice potato chips that I'll make exceptions for. I'm like, if they're seasoned and they have decent ingredients, I will allow some moderation. And then yeah, dinner is usually high protein, high fat as well. So it might be like a sweet potato, it might be sardines, it might be, let's see here, I might do like a fish taco, I might do like a vegan lasagna, but I do it with like real ingredients. Like I'll do like mushrooms, or I'll do oh my gosh, what are those called? There's my brain registers them. Oh, artichokes. I love artichokes. I'm like, they're high in potassium. That's what I know. So yeah, I might do a salad. Like I love like asparagus. I look for low oxalate foods. And then I look for foods that are good for our blood type. My son has the same blood type as me. And so I'm pretty much creating recipes that are using the foods that I know are good for us. And you mentioned earlier how important sunlight is. And so because I'm in a part of the world where I don't get access to proper sunlight for a substantial amount of months, I will eat brown mushrooms during this time. My naturopath actually highlighted this for me because it's super important. Like there are certain receptors in our body that only get vitamin D from the sun. If those receptors aren't getting hit from the sun, then we're just deficient. Like your vitamin D supplement can't hit those receptors. And so when we are eating the brown mushrooms, it's able to kind of give us something similar to what we're getting from the sun. And the browner the mushroom, the more vitamin D it has. And so, yeah, that will deter that. I'm like, okay, did I get sun today? Okay, no, let me go get some mushrooms in our diet tonight. So, yeah, I mean, like I have a sweet tooth, so I'm always looking for a recipe where I can make something yummy and sweet, like a cookie recipe or some sort of a cake or muffins, etc. And I like to use coconut sugar. And I do this because it's lower glycemic, and it's coming from the coconut. So I feel less guilty eating the coconut sugar over any other form of sugar.
All of those are good tips. And I can like hear some of my members being like, okay, and that goes on the grocery list. And that goes on the grocery list. What is one, like, I have a couple more questions for you. So bear with me. And because
Yeah.
I think you're going to like these. But what's one remedy, ritual, or truth that you return to again and again?
Okay. So you asked, I'm going to loop this in with another question that you asked that I didn't properly answer. You asked which books I would pinpoint. So Neville Goddard changed my life. For anyone who knows or doesn't know who he is, changed my life. I immersed myself in his work, and that completely shifted how I think, how I speak to myself, how I speak to others. And so when I think about what I'm always coming back to, I'm always coming back to my affirmations, which I ultimately really
Mm.
like. There are so many people who have dove into his work and it's just like completely shifted their lives that like I think they identify as like Nevilleist now. And so like you can find them all over YouTube. And yeah,
Mm.
it's not that we're worshiping Neville. It's that Neville has delivered a truth we've all heard before in a way that I think is maybe a little bit more relatable for people. But when you aren't connected, when you aren't tapped in, when you don't realize the world that we live in, it's easy to think that maybe his message is blasphemous. And so when I think about like what I'm always coming back to every day when I'm waking up, it's the principles of what I learned in his book that I'm starting my day with. And that's
Mm.
carrying me through my day. If there's ever a moment of doubt, if there's ever a moment of fear, if there's ever a moment of quiet, I'm like, oh, let me jump into some gratitude right now. And I'm
Yeah.
always trying to just vibrate as my highest self. And that trickles into every area of my life. So that impacts the food that I'm choosing to put in my body. That impacts how I'm treating people. That impacts how I show up at work. That impacts how I'm treating my body, even, right? Like, am I respecting my body enough and getting active today, getting sufficient sleep today? A ritual that I do now almost every night, as long as I remember, is I'm dry brushing before I'm hopping in the shower, right? Just, I know my body needs that. And so make time for you, love you. And I think that like when you love you, that reflects in everything that you do. It reflects in even how you are able to show up for other people.
That's beautiful, Whitney. And I just want to add to that in my own way. I actually have two affirmations. So I have like a spiritual one where like who I am and how I animate my life, and I have an affirmation set for that. So it's no, there's no goals, there's no like what I look like, or it's just how I choose to show up. And I have a whole, I put it, it's with my own writing, which I think is really important instead of just typing it out and printing it. And I have it over my bed. And then adjacent to that, I have my physical, like how I show up in this plane, who I am, my queen of my little empire. And who I see myself being, honestly, as a queen of my own little empire, in like my healthy, strong, mighty people who are connected, and pulling those people around me so that like my community is strong and banded together in this, to me, this ancient sense of strength, which I
Mhm.
feel like is being very much attacked by humanity. Like the amorphous, whoever that is, the programs that we are being brainwashed with want us to be sick, fat, tired, and too much. And we can learn all of the most ancient truths in the world. If we don't have a sense of mightiness built in us, we won't have the energy to make that change. So I love that you said affirmations, because I am a big believer that like our neural circuits are highwayed together with our most fundamental thoughts. And for you to start your day with your affirmations of who you are and how you show up, I am with you 1000%. And I do think it's nice to have a few sets of affirmations, because some people, they have these beautiful spiritual ones, but it's like also we have a bank account. Like also we
Mhm.
have responsibilities in this realm, and like who we show up for and how we show up. And some people have these very materialistic affirmations and they kind of forget this other element. So I
Mhm.
love having to, and I love encouraging people, write a paragraph about how your soul shows up on this plane. And then write a paragraph about how your body and your business shows up on this plane, how your bank account shows up on this plane. And it's in the merging of, the higher self coming in and the lower self aligning that I think brings us to our highest. So, wow. Yeah, I am with you. I love that. What a great thing to say. This is my last question for you, before we meet again, because I'm sure we will.
Please.
And I want you to lean into, there's this word that I've been really loving, delusion. So like when I ask you this, I want you to have truly no limit. Like speak to me as your highest form. So someone gives you an unlimited budget for any kind of project or mission you want. What would you do and why?
Wow. Okay, no one's coming for me if I start up this
Don't play
project.
small. Yes.
Okay, it would have to be a healing center. It would have to be. Like I know I'm too connected. I have been so blessed with such a broad network of healers, and like not even in like in different facets, right? Like this, I believe we're healers, right? Like us having this conversation, the knowledge that we have, right? Like creating a platform, a space for people to come and get this knowledge. Like healing can come in so many different forms. So yeah, I would have to be like this massive healing center, because I feel like everybody who makes it to this frequency, I think where we both reside, I'm just going to call it a frequency. Everybody who makes it here is like, oh wow, it's all connected. So like when you realize that it's all connected, that means you don't get to have alignment if this piece is missing. Like we're all trying to achieve alignment. That's what we all want. Like everybody wants to be healthy, everybody wants to have peace, everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants alignment, right? And so this healing center brings everybody into alignment. And like this would be if we could like get rid of all the labels that like religion creates and this world creates for division. If we could get rid of all of that, it's like we all want the same thing. There is a source, I'm just going to call it that. There's a source, and that's why we're all here. That source has made us so intelligent that we interact with the plants that grow out of this ground. Like those plants heal me when I'm sick, right? So it's like if we're all just trying to get to the same place and we understand that it's all connected with the knowledge in the healing center, like, I mean, think of the technology that would be there. Like, my naturopath told me about a patient that she helped, and this
Mhm.
patient had gone to the doctor here in North America and was told she was going to have her leg amputated. And she ended up meeting my naturopath, who was able to connect her with healing technology that was in Germany. And that technology is illegal here, but this woman did not have her leg amputated. And I want you to know she was in Jamaica enjoying her vacation years after she was told she would have
Mhm.
to amputate. It's like, imagine what we could do with this healing center if nobody was going to put a stop to it. Because that's what
Bringing
it would
all
come
of the
down to.
solutions. Yeah.
Yeah, like because it wouldn't just be, a doctor's office where we're able to treat things in lieu of surgeries, right? It would also be a facility where you can come and get your broken heart healed. You can come and you can get your finance, your issues with finances healed, right? Because that's what this all boils down to. Like, yeah, you need to speak with a nutritionist, but you have other areas of your life where even if you're eating healthy, if you're creating stress in your body, so cortisol is being released in your body because of your financial issues or your relationship issues, you can still end up with that scary C word thing, right? So it's not just about the food. It's not just about hitting the gym. It's not just about having a healthy, able body, right? It comes down to also understanding how the mind works. And it also comes down to knowledge, right? Knowledge of what it is that is in our society today. So that facility, we would need to be educating people. There would need to be teachers in there because you can't use Chanel perfume and have balanced hormones. Like there's just you can't keep using the Dial hand soap if you want to have balanced hormones.
So a team, it's like the facility that I'm like seeing you with, it would be like someone could walk in and then have a team of the providers that they need that could bring them to I've been replacing the word alignment with coherence,
Mm,
because alignment to me feels so linear, right? Which I
mm.
love, like, because we're an instrument, right? But our field outside of our body is this like 12 strands
Right.
moving in different directions. And it's like you can have half of your 12 strings like really good, and the other half are like tense and confused. And it's not all the way your health and it's not all the way your habits, but it's your relationship to your work. And it's your
Mm,
relationship to being outside. And, it's these
mhm.
other things that would bring coherence to the field. And it's, when we have these solar flares and these energy tune-ups and the change of seasons, I think that people think always, oh, something's wrong with me. And it's like, baby,
Mm,
you're just a little bit out of tune in one tiny little section, and it's showing up in all of these ways. And I think that we're a lot more powerful. And I love your idea. I can't believe how many of the people on my broadcast answer that question almost the same in their
wow.
own way, where it's like they just want to give. All they want to do
Mm.
is give. It's never like, my answer to that question is completely different. I would build a blimp that has a seed gun on it that I could go and trout, and just like bubbles and seeds is what I blast out of it. Just healing the land. Like, it needs more seeds here. Everybody else is like
Yeah.
a loving center for every day. And I'm just like, seeds, baby. Let me plant wildflowers all over the earth that would just make me feel so
Ooh,
good.
I'm like, wait, maybe I build a big old farm and just start giving people clean food. Maybe that's where I start. That feels a lot more easy to tackle.
Some of the forest bathing studies that came out of the 50s are very interesting. There was these naturopaths that would assign their prescription to their clients was to go into this goat field that had all these like brooks and streams running through it, and they would say, go and take naps. And so for 8
Yeah.
hours a day, their clients would just go out and hang out with the goats basically and take naps under different trees, and they got so well,
Oh my
unbelievably
gosh.
well.
I believe it. That makes so much sense. No, because are you I mean, I feel like you must know about earthing.
Absolutely. It's
Okay. And so there's a documentary called Earthing. Have you ever seen it?
no, and I
Oh,
need to now.
it's
Thanks for
so good.
mentioning it.
Yes. Oh, you asked me earlier, what should people watch or tune into? Go watch Earthings. So
Okay.
amazing. But with that, one of the first things it talks about is this story in the beginning about a child who was sick, hay fever. They could not heal her. They tried everything, every ailment, every herb, etc. And this is like a really old story. And they ended up putting her outside just on the ground and she healed completely. She slept on the ground for, I don't know whether it was hours or days, and she was completely healed afterwards. It's like people don't understand how important our connection is to the earth, whether it's coming from the solar, like the sun's energy, or whether it's coming straight from the earth. And like one of the things that I try to do, and obviously this changes with the seasons, but like I have tons of grounding shoes. So I'm like, oh, I'm going for a walk. I'm wearing my grounding shoes because I want my steps to count. Like I got my dog walking on the sidewalk and I'm walking on the grass.
Perfect. Whitney, it's been a real pleasure. Do you have a website that in the show notes, I'll have a lot of the links for people to find you on Instagram. But what is your
Please.
website that you would love to direct people to if they want to learn more about your skincare and the remedies that you offer?
Yes, auracollections.com. So that's ORA collections with an S. That's my skincare site. And then Sovereign Sanctuary is actually a school community. So please tap into my Sovereign Sanctuary. I have everything there. Like you said it earlier, it takes time. I have courses, I have handbooks. I'm like, if you've got ailments, I've got them in there in alphabetical order, and you can go in and there's natural remedies that'll lead you to. So yeah, all kinds of information in there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today and sharing your wealth of knowledge and very practical information for anybody that's running a family that has a kid that comes home with runny noses, coughing, and cavities. So I
Or a
appreciate you
single
so
man.
much.
A single man or a
Yeah,
single woman who comes home with a with a cough or a cavity, go and put some onions in
true.
your socks. Go gargle some some golden seal.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, and I look
It
forward to
was a
having you
pleasure.
again.
Yes.